Munchies, welcome to the channel if you're new, or if you're not, I'm Alyssia and I'm stoked you're here. Today I am changing up the type of meal prep game. I often show full meal preps for the week, and that is how I used to meal prep when I first started almost 10 years ago. I was in college, I was trying to lose the freshman 15, or more like the freshman 25, and meal prepping everything was a must because I didn't have time to cook along the way, being so busy with school. But over time, my meal prepping methods have evolved, and now with my current lifestyle and my needs, I don't want or have to prep every single thing, but prepping some things still sets me up for success. So today I am showing you a minimal meal prep, which is how I actually meal prep now, and how I use those components throughout the week to make easy 10-minute meals. So I think of most of my meals as being broken up into components. I don't usually do full recipes for meal prep because it's so much work and so much planning, and I would rather have the components ready to go that I can throw together along the way throughout the week. My meals are typically composed of veggies, proteins, carbs, and fat, and of course, I want to season those differently sometimes so I've got a variety in flavor. For veggies, I have got a lot of hacks to keep meal prep quick. I don't want to spend a ton of time chopping, so I buy pre-chopped produce. Onions are one thing I always get, shaved Brussels sprouts are another, chopped cauliflower and broccoli, which sometimes I'll cut down a little bit more depending on how big the florets are, and sometimes I'll get pre-made mixes like stir fry or chopped veggie mixes, that sort of thing. I also usually have some chopped spinach or mixed greens on hand. Frozen veggies like cauliflower rice I always have on hand too, and some frozen mixed veggies make weeknight meals easier. Don't worry, I'm gonna show you how I use this stuff too. Now, if this doesn't look like meal prep in the way that you're used to, you're right, but meal prep doesn't have to be what Instagram makes us think. Meal prep is, to me, peace of mind. Having items prepared for my meals for the week so I can easily stay on track is what makes meal prep work for me. And again, that's changed over the years. So be open to that shifting for you too. For carbs on my plate, you can do what suits you, but for me, it's rice on the stove, or another time saver is to have frozen rice to cook during the week. I am not huge on quinoa, so I don't usually prep that, but you could. I also do pre-cut butternut squash and or sweet potatoes. I haven't worked with a whole butternut squash in a long time because it is so much work to get it cubed, and it isn't much cheaper to buy it pre-cut. But you've got to find what works for you. Some people really prefer to avoid the plastic. I get it, and I do try to go with less plastic when I can. You have to weigh out what's worth it for you, and there's no right or wrong here. Let's be clear, this is not an ethical or moral battle, it's just what you need. I need healthy food available to eat healthy because I know if I don't, it's Postmates all day, every day. I know that having this food available will encourage me to eat it, and my health is the most important thing to me, even though I want to help the earth in whatever way that I can. But if to you, the most important thing is plastic, which is also totally allowed, then the time preparing the food is the compromise that you might have to make. We've all got to compromise somehow, and it comes down to which compromises are worth it to you. One compromise is not better than the other, and it doesn't mean that we make that compromise always and forever. Maybe on really busy weeks, I buy the cubed squash, but on less busy weeks, I get sweet potatoes as a carb and I cube them myself because it's not that much work and I'm willing and have the time to do it. So do the best that you can with what you've got. Sometimes I will cook the squash or sweet potato on meal prep days, so it's already cooked for me to use during the week, and sometimes I'll leave it raw and cook it throughout the week. It depends on what I need that week and how much time I have. Remember, fruit is another great way to get carbohydrates on the plate in a healthy way. It doesn't have to be grains and bread and pasta and beans. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Sometimes a side of fruit is my carb and it doubles as a sweet, and I love it. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, protein is the most work with meal prep, but I found ways to make it easier. Pulled pork in the slow cooker is my current go-to. It's so easy, so tasty. Salt and pepper on the pork and into the slow cooker it goes for 9 hours. That is it. I shared that in a video a couple weeks ago. Rotisserie chicken is another. Pull the meat off the bone and you've got meat ready to throw in a variety of meals. Another easy one is to put ground meat and a jar of salsa into a slow cooker. 2 ingredients, 1 versatile meat. A cleaner sausage like a chicken apple or Italian. These are convenient pre pre-cooked. I can serve them warm or cold and add flavor, protein, and texture to dishes. Seafood, fresh or thawed fish and scallops, they don't last long, so they're not great for meal prep, but having them available to cook throughout the week is easy enough since they cook so quickly. Just because a food doesn't last long doesn't mean you can't design a meal prep that includes those foods. Just because you don't like leftovers doesn't mean you can't meal prep. The key is learning to meal prep in a way that works for you. This is literally what I teach in my Meal Prep Ignite course, which is closed right now, but I'll link it below if you want to check it out and add your name to the list so that you can be notified the next time that it opens for enrollment. Eggs. I always have eggs in the fridge. They are a super easy and fast protein to cook. Scrambles are a weekly go-to for me, and I will put a fried egg on almost any dinner. Canned beans and bean salads are another way to have protein ready for meals. You can prep an easy bean salad. I'll link all of the stuff that you're seeing below if you want the specific recipes, but that bean salad can be used as any other protein would throughout the week. Okay, so that is a lot of minimal meal prep protein ideas. Let's be clear, I'm not using all of these things every single week. I'll choose 1 or 2 or maybe 3 depending on how busy I am and how many people I'm prepping for and what I need that week. For fat on my plate, we have already got some fat covered. Most proteins have some fat in them, so the pulled pork, ground meat, salmon, or eggs, but I almost always have avocado on my plate. Half of one is perfect for me with a meal. I know avocado seems like it isn't a meal prep friendly food, but plastic police, close your eyes. I put a piece of plastic on the other half and it will literally stay green for another 1 to 2 days in the fridge. Storing it with the pit always helps, so eat that other half first. Another option is to store half of the avocado with a wedge of onion. The sulfur gas helps to keep it from browning. Or you can just eat it brown. It tastes fine like that too, it just doesn't look as appealing. I also buy coconut pieces and I love adding these to my plate as a fat to snack on with my meal. For flavor, I have got some go-to seasoning combos. First, never underestimate the power of simple salt and pepper. Some of the best meals are simple, and salt goes a long way if you know how to use it right. I teach that in my Kitchen Confidence course, where I teach cooking skills as well as how to cook without recipes. I discuss this in great detail. I teach you how to season appropriately and help you feel more confident in the kitchen without having to listen to someone else or follow instructions. Sometimes, salt and pepper really is enough, but I have a couple of easy flavor combinations to switch it up for regular weeknight meals. One is an Asian-inspired flavor profile. A simple combination of soy sauce and sesame oil can transform a plain protein and veggies to make them taste like a fun and inspiring stir fry. I'll also often use coconut aminos in place of soy sauce. For a more Southwestern-inspired dish, I'll add a classic combo of salsa, guac, and/or sour cream, and taco seasoning. For a creamy and rich profile, using mayo as a base and mixing in some citrus and/or coconut aminos can elevate the texture and flavor. Balsamic and olive oil is another super easy combo that can be added to protein on its own or veggies and grains. And then there's always Christian's favorite, burger night. It is funny how ketchup and mustard with pickles and mayo can make just about anything taste like a burger. Some individual flavors I'll use sauces for are, barbecue sauce and hummus. Either of those can add flavor and variety beyond the basic salt and pepper too. Okay, so that is kind of my basic minimal prep and some staples that I'll keep on hand. How do I use those items throughout the week? The key to minimal prep working for you is finding confidence to not need recipes. And it's not a, some of us have got the magic cooking gene and some of us don't thing. It is a skill that can be learned. And I teach that in my Kitchen Confidence course. I'm gonna give you 4 10-minute meal examples using minimal prep items in this video, but you can do so much more than this on your own because your combinations are endless. I have a mix and match PDF that is from my Meal Prep Ignite course that you can download for free in the description. It gives inspiration for combining these meal components in different ways for endless variety. First, let's do an Asian pork bowl. My base is cauliflower rice, fresh or frozen rice. I usually do frozen because I don't have to worry about it going bad. I start with onions in a pan with cooking fat and I let those start to get tender. In goes the sweet potato cubes because I know that these are gonna take time to soften. A few minutes later, I add in my cauliflower rice, which I prefer frozen and thawed. While that goes, on another burner, I have some chopped chicken apple sausage or your favorite pork sausage. It is pre-cooked, but I'm gonna char it up in some oil or ghee because it adds so much flavor. My pulled pork is already meal prepped for the week, so I can add that to my cooked cauliflower rice and sweet potato mixture, along with some snow peas, which I know don't need much time, so I'm adding them last, as well as some sesame oil and soy sauce or coconut aminos. Let that integrate for a few minutes and get all delicious, and don't forget to add in that sausage. Season to taste. This will depend on your prepped items, so how salty is your protein? Are your fresh or frozen veggies pre-seasoned? This is why you have to learn to salt to taste. And there is my first meal, the Asian pork bowl. I've got veggies, proteins, carb, fat, and delicious flavor in 10 minutes. Seriously, I prefer this to meal prepping the full meals because I get a fresh cooked meal in very little time. Again, there's no right or wrong. If you like leftovers, then just spending a minute reheating the cooked food can work for you. Spend more time on prep day and less during the week. I prefer to spend less time on prep day. I probably spend an hour prepping all of the items on Sunday, and then I only spend 10 minutes getting the meal together during the week because everything's ready to go, ready to be thrown together, and most importantly, I am confident that I can make it work with my basic cooking skills. Okay, the next meal I'll show you is a chicken burrito bowl. This one is done as a sheet pan meal, which is another way I keep meals quick during the week. I start with pre-chopped broccoli, and then I cut some red onion into wedges on a pan and season with oil and Trader Joe's chili seasoning blend. For protein, I usually use boneless chicken breast or thighs. I prefer thighs for flavor. I pat them down with a paper towel. Getting them dry will help them crisp up a bit more in the oven, and it's definitely a good idea with a dry rub, which is essentially what I do when I sprinkle on some taco seasoning. How easy is that? And it can totally go on the same tray as the broccoli. This is why confidence in the kitchen is important. Once you understand that it doesn't actually matter what the oven temperature is, but more importantly, what you're cooking, what you're pairing it with, and then how long you need to leave it, you can pair items together so that they can go into the same oven at the same time. In my kitchen confidence course, I have a cheat sheet that shows which veggies and proteins pair well together and at which temperatures they best cook. It's pretty cool, but the more confident you get, the more you won't even need the cheat sheet. Now, yes, that has to cook for more than 10 minutes because I want it fresh, but it took like 5 seconds to prepare and I can be doing other stuff while it cooks. So the payoff for getting to eat a fresh cooked meal is worth it to me. It might not be to you. You could totally have those sheet pan items already cooked on meal prep day and just reheat them. I just don't prefer to eat my meal prep leftover style. While that cooks, I get my meal prepped rice and heat it on the stove and add a little bit of lime juice, cilantro, and canned corn, a super easy addition that took no time and adds flavor and variety. Boom. And when my sheet pan is done, I can serve my entire meal. Maybe add a little salsa and cotija cheese, and I have got a Mexican or Southwestern inspired meal. Okay, next is a salmon salad that is so dang quick. I add salt and pepper to my salmon, heat a pan with some ghee, and then I get that salmon in their skin side up, letting it sear for about 2 minutes, and then I just flip it and let it cook another 2 minutes or so, and this really depends on how thick the salmon is and how rare or done you like it. I tend to prefer it less done, but it'll only take another 2 minutes or so if you want it more done. While that's cooking, I combine the salad, which is just arugula, red onion, which I can either buy, chop in advance, or chop that night if I have the time, some meal prepped butternut squash that I roasted previously. I am serving it cold in this salad, and I top that off with a bit of olive oil and balsamic tossing to coat. Then I add the salmon on top with a lemon and avocado, and like I said earlier, I will often put an egg on anything. I didn't do it here, but a yolky egg on top of salmon is one of my favorite things. Plus, on salad, that egg yolk becomes like a part of the dressing, which I know is hit or miss for some of you, but I am all about that yolk. I have got one more meal to show you today, and it's a veggie scramble, which I make almost every single day in some variety. You can really use whatever vegetables you have on hand. Today, I start with oil and onions in a pan and let them soften. Then I add in some other veggies. And just like before, I'm considerate of how long they're going to take. So if I'm going to add potatoes or squash, those will take longer, and I want to get those in first. Today, I'm going to start with broccoli for a few minutes and then add in bell peppers, which are softer and need less time. Confidence in the kitchen will help you make that choice without needing a recipe, and that makes it easier to use up vegetables you already have in your fridge. I am not telling you this so that you'll go and enroll in my course. Actually, you can't enroll in either course right now because we're not open for enrollment, but I'm telling you that because once I realized that having meal prepped food available wasn't what actually helped me succeed, but rather it was the confidence to make the day-to-day choices and decisions in the kitchen about what I need and how to cook that made meal prep so much less stressful. I have got my eggs scrambled in a measuring cup, and then I add them into the cooked vegetables, letting the egg cook as it hits the hot pan. I can top it off with cheese if I want, or maybe avocado or salsa. It depends on the day, but this is a great combo for variety because you can add in cooked protein or veggies or any toppings or seasonings. There are really endless possibilities. And if you don't want to add carbs into your scramble like I'm doing today, why not serve some fruit on the side? I love it. I hope you'll get creative with these easy mix and match meal ideas and that you're finding some inspiration for a minimal style meal prep that might work better for you than prepping every single thing. For most people, prepping everything isn't just more work, it's also more than they need. I hate it when I prep food for the week and then I don't eat it and it's wasted. It took time and practice for me to realize that actually prepping less serves me more. I just had to find the way that worked for me, and you have to find the way that works for you. Let me know if you like this kind of video and want to see more of it. I want to start sharing more about how my own relationship with food and meal prepping has evolved over the last few years because I think it is a much more sustainable way to do it, and I hope you're open to seeing it. Remember that you can get the free mix and match download in the description, and feel free to put your name on the waitlist for the courses if you're interested in being notified when they open up again for enrollment later this year. I'll be back next week with another video, and remember, it's all a matter of mind over munch.